Hello and welcome to the G3 Pulse podcast. Today we are talking to the Vice President of Sales for Europe for SUZOHAPP, Tim Kennedy. Welcome to the podcast, Tim.
Welcome, Lewis. How are you?
All good, thank you. Looking forward to having a chat. Today we're actually talking about sports betting, but my view of SUZOHAPP is that you're a components company. I'm just wondering, kind of curious as well, as to where SUZOHAPP's involvement is in the sports betting sector.
Yeah, your view has traditionally been correct. We've been supplying components to the gaming and sports betting and amusement sectors for many years now. However, in the last 12 months or so, we've actually been building out a full product range of sports betting terminals ourselves. And in fact, we have our first installation in Belgium with the Belgian National Lottery. So we have started supplying sports betting terminals into the marketplace.
And that's during COVID as well. I mean, in terms of doing a retail install, that's kind of unusual at the moment as well.
Absolutely, yeah. So we took the decision that we wanted to branch out. We felt we could really offer some value in the marketplace by offering some things that are not currently available. Okay. And we see a big opportunity going forward.
One of the things that I do know about SUZOHAPP from the kind of global side, the worldwide side, is that you're a properly global company. You have facilities and manufacturing and offices in just really everywhere. And does that mean you can work really locally with your clients in the marketplace where they live?
Absolutely. So we have sales offices, as you say, pretty much globally. But I think the thing that we really offer that many people can't is a complete supply chain solution. So in these difficult times when, supply chains are very constrained, there's a shortage of components and freight is very difficult. We operate right across the board. So we have manufacturing and assembly in China, in Poland, in the USA. So we cover the globe, and we can bring all of these resources to bear with the local sales and support of our local offices in Europe, Asia, and America.
Okay. You're talking a little bit more about that global supply chain when you create the entire product. Are you seeing that? Do you think it still makes sense for companies to maintain their in-house production facilities when outsourcing is efficient, it's effective? Is that something you're seeing? There's more pressure on that side.
There's definitely more pressure. I mean, not withholding what we've just spoken about with the constraints on the supply chain. Yeah. I think increasingly from the sports betting perspective, platform operators and platform providers are finding a lot of constraints themselves. So the markets are expanding at an ever faster rate, and the demands on the software are increasing. So, where we step in is to basically, we can provide the missing link to take care of all of the hardware requirements. So from concept all the way through to delivery, we're the hardware partner that operators can rely on without having to, be experts in all of those areas that you'd need to deliver a solution. So allowing customers to concentrate on, the important things, which today at the moment is launching sportsbook as fast as possible in as many jurisdictions, particularly applicable in the US.
Okay. One of the things from that is that has COVID actually intensified that? All those production facilities that have been dormant over this last period. Are your clients looking at thinking, well, this is actually less cost effective? It's not, having all these facilities not running. Are you getting more inquiries? Is this a kind of I suppose a flipping point between thinking about it and actually doing actually outsourcing?
Yeah, I think COVID really did focus many companies' attention on their cost base. Okay. And they've started to concentrate on what they do best. And these peripheral activities that are probably sometimes sporadic, so not totally frequent, definitely it makes sense to start outsourcing. So I think, I think you've hit the nail on the head. there is a tipping point in the market. Everybody's looking at concentrating on what they do best. And that really led us to the same conclusion. So, we were already providing 90% of the service of an outsourced hardware service, but not actually going the final mile.
Right,
So it made absolute perfect sense to do that and offer that service to our customers.
Okay. To kind of, I do love a long list. To kind of look at what you actually offer from the sports betting terminal side. I did prepare a list before, and I've not memorized it, so I will read it straight off here. So, in terms of your creative sports betting terminal, you create the LED lighting strips, the touch screens, the secondary screens, the speakers, the amplifiers, the boards, the printers, the push buttons, the LCD buttons, the keys and locks, the power supplies, door switches, cooling fans, hoppers, amusement control devices, coin entries, validators, bill validators, topper, tower lights, USB chargers, and of course the cabinets themselves. Does that mean that the OEM just supplies the software, or is that something in which you can help with as well?
No, so we supply all the hardware. We work closely with the OEMs on the software side to make sure the integration is fully complete. But essentially, we offer a service to ensure that the terminal is designed for the environment that the operator wants it to go in. And increasingly, that is changing. So I think very soon you'll see in the US some new sports bar environments where you have, a much more comfortable bet in play environment rather than the sort of functional terminals that are in the market to date.
So funkier, more kind of brand orientated ones.
Absolutely. So yeah, we concentrate on the hardware. We will work with the customer to understand the environment that the terminal goes into, to understand the customers that are actually going to be using that. So to understand the player journey. So to make the terminal as efficient and as nice looking as possible, and then select the right components that are fit for that purpose. So based on the volume, the size of the terminal, and the functionality that needs to be in it. And because of our vast experience of sourcing and building components, we can select the right combination of those to put in a terminal.
Speaking of right components, from that exhausted list, SUZOHAPP, actually, you offer a range of LCDs. You do your own Vision Pro range of LCDs for sports betting gaming. You also have the kind of entire range from Elo Touch Solutions as well. And what's the balance and the difference between those two kind of ranges as well?
Yeah, so Elo is well known in the marketplace. Probably the biggest brand name in touchscreens, not only in gaming but across other market sectors. Retail kiosks, for example, are very, they've got a big market share in that. So Elo offer, unrivaled quality, I would say, a big range of different screen sizes, and unrivaled warranties as well. So you can get 3 or 5 year warranty on Elo. So in terms of longevity, Elo is a one to go for.
Okay.
The flip side, Inno, it's our own brand range of screens, so Vision Pro. That allows us to customize screens with different inbuilt lighting configurations. So we can put RGB lighting in there, 3 different styles of lighting, at any screen size. So if somebody wants to, it's probably more applicable right now for gaming. So to have some RGB lights around the edge of the screen, or backlit behind the screen.
A track mode.
Ultimately, ultimately we can see that also working in a sports betting environment as well. So maybe in a lounge environment to create a bit of a mood at certain matches, maybe to have a red glow or a purple glow or a blue glow.
Team oriented.
Absolutely. So Vision Pro allows us to do much more customization, and Elo, is the ultimate in reliability and if you really need that brand credibility.
Right. Okay.
But we offer the best of both worlds, basically.
Yeah. With the amount of work that you're doing at the moment and what you're supplying, I'm just wondering, does that kind of OEM relationship change from being a provider of components and provider of everything to one more of a partner designer of the products when you're talking about making them brand orientated and how they want to? Is that a shift that's actually changing in terms of how you're working to actually create and design with the client as opposed to just supplying what they want?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a much more consultative process. So we're pulling on our experience of supplying components and using components and seeing their application in the marketplace,
Okay.
really making recommendations on what type of printer, for example. There's lots of decisions around how long you want that printer to last, how
Okay.
frequently you want an engineer to visit, how often does the paper roll need to be changed. All of those elements are things that need discussing, need working out. Whereas in the past, somebody would call us up or send us an email and say, "Can you supply, X thousands of
Yeah.
this printer to this specification?" So yeah, very much more consultative.
And how much kind of custom capabilities are kind of built into that as well, in terms of I suppose how custom can you get without it becoming inefficient? And is there a balance between how much customization that is allowed if you want to change something that's not specifically in the catalog, or not specifically that's something that's off the shelf, to something that is more kind of operator spec or more OEM spec?
Yeah, I mean, customization obviously comes at a price, so there's a price of design time, but our pricing model means that we can get down to a few hundred units and do a relatively bespoke build for people,
Okay.
for customers. In terms of branding, we can do standardized cabinets in a variety of colors. We can do different screen configurations. We can brand them up. So even with the standard cabinets, we can do short runs, so 20, 30 terminals that would look completely different from competitors. So, we have a full range of options to full custom, I would say. So
Right.
then you're talking about, your own style of cabinet built with, you know, um, certain types of cash handling or cashless, for example. So that could be, totally customized.
Okay. And we're talking about that kind of level of customization for in terms of you're working. You mentioned a couple of times there about working with operators as opposed to
Yeah.
working with an OEM to supply an operator. And how do, in terms of that relationship and working with the operators directly, um, uh, you know, is that a different relationship from working with an OEM who understand all the moving parts that are necessary? Are you kind of more guiding hand when you're working with an operator, explaining what you can and can't do, rather than to an OEM who is kind of more skilled in that side?
Definitely, definitely. So we have geared up internally. We've got a number of people on the sales team, both in Europe and the US, that has had outside experience from the component industry. So we've all got an operator background. Myself, I've been working in sports betting now for the last decade or so.
Yeah.
So we bring that experience, and that was, part of the reason of, we are experienced in this area, and the SUZOHAPP existing organization is experienced in the component supply business. So putting those two elements together, we can bring all of this market knowledge to bear, and really offer that consultation uh, um, service that people are looking for.
And when we talk about the kind of the hardware side of things, I'm just wondering, are OEMs creating retail sports betting kind of terminals in isolation from the offerings that we're seeing online is taken off incredibly well? But is there an omni-channel conversation? Is what I'm kind of thinking. Is there a link between the retail component and the online component? And is that part of the conversation that you're having at this stage, or is that something that is a developer conversation? I'm just wondering where you see omnichannel fitting in.
Yeah, I think it depends on the opportunity that's in place. So,
Okay.
for example, you see a number of lotteries adding sports betting to their services that they want to offer to consumers,
Okay.
in which case they go down a very traditional route. So they want to deploy twin screen terminals in lottery facilities. So in that case, it's relatively straightforward to find an OEM that can provide a twin screen terminal.
Okay.
The flip side to that is a US chain of casinos that might have sports bars, and they want a full range of terminals in different locations to offer different functionality at different times of day.
Okay.
And I think that's much more, the kind of opportunity where we can really help. It's not just a, go out and shop for a terminal. That's a much more consultative type of sale.
Okay.
And they tend to be led by the sports betting platform provider. And obviously, their major focus is the online experience. And what we want to do is help them facilitate the best experience they can on the retail side to complement that online experience. So the omnichannel is, first and foremost in their mind. So the platform providers are really driving the omnichannel experience.
Okay. And I guess that kind of leads into kind of a more general question I have towards the end, about how optimistic you are about the future of sports betting, but really retail sports betting. There's been kind of question marks about it. Obviously, in the lockdowns have proved tricky for retail right across the spectrum. But I'm sure kind of. You mentioned right at the start about your installations in Belgium. You mentioned about you being very enthusiastic about this sector and the number of inquiries that are coming in that are being strong. I just wonder, do you see the opportunities coming in on a global level everywhere, or are they very specific at the moment? And they specifically in terms of it being an American, we're seeing lots of kind of interest from that side. Is it where are these pinpointing around the world at the moment? And where do you see the opportunities, and how big are they? I guess as well.
Yeah. Obviously, America, the opportunity for retail sports betting is growing and substantial. Um, a lot of the press and a lot of the fever around sports betting in America is all online focused. It
Yeah.
tends to be driven by online, but behind that, I think the pandemic has shown a need for consumers to get out and actually be entertained. And I know a number of operators that are really gearing up for a massive expansion in retail sports betting. Not only in the traditional places where you'd find sports betting today. So I think there's a lot of new opportunities in the US. Latin America, we've also done an installation down in Argentina with the same sports betting platform provider.
Okay.
So LATAM is another area where we see sports betting really starting to take off now.
Okay.
And then in Europe, a number of governments are looking at sports betting, providing a nice way of taxing people, I think, raising taxes.
Right.
So there's a number of lotteries are looking to add sports betting to their portfolios. On top of that, I think a number of existing sports betting providers are looking at renewing their estates.
Yeah, I was going to ask if that's a big thing at the minute to actually freshen up and actually kind of change things for a slightly newer or younger client.
Absolutely. So the combination of that, I would say the outlook is very rosy for sports betting. It is where all the action is right now.
Right. And kind of finally, obviously, SUZOHAPP's exhibiting at G2E. There's been lots of conversations about that from the European side, from for America as well. But what can you share about the participation of SUZOHAPP at the event, and particularly, obviously, the chat's been about sports betting. So, what can you tell us about what exhibitors and visitors to the show will see at on the SUZOHAPP stand?
Yeah, so we've been gearing up for months. Really excited about G2E happening. We've got a great local team in Las Vegas who will be supporting the show together with our office in Chicago.
Okay.
We'll be launching a full range of sports betting terminals. So you'll see a few different models and showcasing our capabilities. But also we'll be showcasing a cash redemption terminal that will basically link the sports betting platform world with the casino back office to allow payments to seamlessly flow between the two, which I think is unique in the marketplace. So we're really excited about that, and I think it will really put Suzo on the map in the US, offering something unique in the marketplace.
Well, hopefully, if we can all get there, then we can all partake, and if not, then I'm sure we'll be seeing this at the iShow as well. Again, fingers crossed, this is all happening. But no, thank you very much for talking through it. From my side of it, I wasn't aware of all the things that SUZOHAPP was doing on the sports betting side. I hope the listeners have actually kind of learned something as well, and we'll take kind of the point of call to contact SUZOHAPP about if they have any sports betting needs. Tim, pleasure to speak to you again, and good luck with everything you got lined up, and also getting over to G2E2. Take care.
Take care of yourself. Pleasure as always, Lewis. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Tim. Bye.